live on
Streaming?
Facebook. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and InWheelTime.com. It's the In Wheel Time Car Show, celebrating 10 years of award-winning car talk. Coming up, the Car Clinic, this week's auto news, and more, which is scary because I don't know what the more is. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars. King Conrad DeLong. We need more. We don't need any more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday. It's been quite the hour and a half, and we still got another hour and a half to go. Feels like days.
And confused.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's that. You have to put your headset on for us to hear you. Then you've lost your windscreen. So what are you doing over there? You turning into Mike Mars?
No, he's trying to be cute.
Here we go. Was that every time you hear that, you got to do a shot? Okay, your turn to do a shot.
Boomer Sooner.
I think he's trying to tell you something.
Where's
Don.
your windscreen? It fell out.
It's on the floor somewhere, I
Great.
imagine.
Nice.
We'll figure it out. Mars has extra.
Boomer Sooner.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, Alabama doesn't have one of those kind of catchy little things, but they've got a killer football team.
Yep, and they have a lot of national championships.
They do. And they got Nick Saban.
OU only has 8 national championships.
Only 8.
Only 8.
I think Nick Saban's got those in his pocket.
Yeah. I don't think Saban has that many, but I know they have more than 8.
Yeah. They have more than
You
8.
lost me at Sooner.
Football?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Football. What's that? Anyway, it's a big football day on TV, and even a bigger football night on TV because Alabama plays Texas A&M. And I tried to get tickets to go to that.
tonight?
Oh my God, it's so stupid. The price of tickets to go to a football game. Are you kidding me?
A college game? How much?
A college game. $1,000.
Are you
Seriously?
blankety blanking me? $1,000 to go see a college football game?
If you want to sit in some place that's not the nosebleed in the end zone, yeah.
I'll be darned. Mm-hmm. Would not have believed that.
No, trust me. I went
Well, you went with your daughter.
3 or 4 years ago with Katie, her last semester there at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And the cheapest seats that I could find, I spent $900
For two seats,
for the
though.
pair.
2 seats. But still, my God,
No,
Mike.
that's $450 a seat. I mean,
Yeah.
I quit going to concerts when the tickets got to be $100.
Have you ever been in a stadium with 110, 15,000 people?
Screaming,
I
yelling.
marched it. I was at the
Every
U of M
seat
game.
Crazy people.
Filled.
Yeah, U of M game
Wow.
we marched.
The most incredible thing I've ever witnessed and been a part of in my entire life. I'd never been to a college game like that.
Wow.
I've been to college games before, but not like that.
Are they playing in Alabama or in College Station?
College Station.
Ooh. I might have to watch
Alabama
it
has
then.
14 national championships.
How many for Nick?
1, 2, 3, 4. When did he start?
I don't know. That's okay. It doesn't make any difference. He's killing it, and so is the football team.
Yeah, I think he's got 4.
I know since I've been involved, it's been.
Well, 4 at Alabama, but I think he's got national championships from some previous teams.
What's he making? $35 million a year now?
All he can get. He makes more than an NFL coach.
Wow.
Why would you ever want to go to the NFL?
Think of how many student scholarships that would pay for if he wasn't getting paid so much
Yeah,
money.
but the students are getting, the players are getting, the athletes are getting paid now in some respect.
Well,
In some percentage of some
Yeah,
kind
and
of
it's going to be
formula.
interesting to see how that
and that's
changes
what's messing
the world.
their heads up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Some kind of formula they have with gifts or something. Pay.
Well, this is a car talk show.
Yes.
And so I thought that we would talk about cars.
What?
No.
Well, why not?
Okay.
Do we have a guest or no?
I'm working.
Yes or no?
Apparently
No.
not.
No, at
No.
this point.
No.
So we don't have a guest. So I wanted to discuss with you.
Okay.
We'll wait until everybody is ready
I'm
to.
listening.
We're ready.
You wanted to discuss with us while you're disgusting with us.
Okay. The car shortage.
Oh, gosh.
And
Huge
it
problem.
continues to get worse and worse. However, I read a story this morning that was pretty interesting, that car sales are up. Car sales.
Not truck.
Not
Car.
truck, not
Car sales
SUV,
are-
but car
well,
sales.
That makes sense.
Well, there's cars available.
But
The
I
trucks
didn't even
aren't.
think about it, did you? I didn't think about it.
I didn't think about it that way, but that does make sense that car sales would be up because it's the only inventory they have because
Exactly.
nobody was buying cars before the pandemic.
Right. It'll be the last hurrah for cars, is my guess. Because once they get back up and running again with the chip shortage over with, I would imagine that and electric. Don't get me started.
Well, but electric is part of what's driving car sales because electric trucks really aren't out there in volume the way electric cars
They're
are.
about to be.
Well, they're about to be, but they're not yet.
Right.
Ford Lightning,
we still
Rivian.
have no infrastructure to support that, but whatever. As long as you're driving back and forth to work or in town, I think you'll be fine. Mm-hmm. But if you want to go to the
And if
beach,
you only work every other day, so you can spend 24 hours recharging your car.
Exactly. Yep.
it won't take that long to recharge the car. Now, about 12 hours. If you're depleted down to about 20%, take you about 12 hours to get it back up to 100%.
Well, you could put a 220 charging station in. The problem is, can you get 220 to your house? Most houses do. But, and then can Texas support producing that much 220 through their electric
Matter of
grid?
fact, there was a radio show that I was listening to yesterday, and they were discussing the fact that we do not have the current capacity
Infrastructure.
to actually produce enough power in, I don't think, 10 or 15 years. At the rate that we're using electricity today, there's not enough power being generated today.
True.
Much less the infrastructure with the power poles and that sort of stuff.
And if you listen to Toyota management, Toyota, who sells Prius and has this whole gamma of Prius Synergy drive vehicles across their platform of Toyota and Lexus, they say electric cars is not the way to go, that hybrid cars, which is what Synergy drive is,
Right.
is the way to go. So you have both a gasoline and an electric component to
Exactly.
your vehicle. And that way you don't have to depend on an electric grid who has not built a nuclear power station in 25, 30 years. And many places around the country have taken down hydroelectric dams because of some
No water.
because of some stupid fish was more important than the electrical systems.
Well, there's
But
that.
if you think about it, and to me, it makes more sense to use the hybrid as that transition piece, so that you continue to develop the batteries and stuff that you need for the
It's not
electric
the
car.
batteries, it's the infrastructure.
Well, and you build out the infrastructure while you're at it, and you develop your generating capacity.
Guess who's going to be
supply it.
building the infrastructure?
The Chinese.
You and me and everybody else, which is ridiculous. Did we build gas stations? No, we did
No,
not.
we did not. That's the other side of it that's not making much sense.
No, but you're right. And, the car that I thought was brilliant was when General Motors was building the Volt. Not the Bolt, but the Volt.
Yes.
Which was a hybrid.
Right.
Yes.
And it was a battery electric hybrid.
That had a gas motor that powered a generator to run the electric of the car. Correct. So while they were building that, I'm sorry, I finished his thought.
You're getting pretty good at that.
I love you, Don.
And there've been
Oh, he's turning them
Turn
off.
me
He
off.
turned them off.
there's been a couple of others that have been developed along the same line. BMW tried to do one, but to me they didn't quite get it because the gas tank on the on the gasoline powered motor was too small. It wouldn't take you anyplace. But again, to me, that transition over the next, everybody's saying, well, we're going to go to all electric in 20 years or 10 years or whatever the political storm is at the moment. I mean, it's not practical. We can't do it. So why not do something that is more practical with the hybrid?
I want to know what's going to happen to the manufacturers that have declared that they are going to be all electric in 10 years.
Oh, that's just
General
lip
Motors.
service.
And it's not going to happen.
That's
No,
lip
it's
service.
just
Either
lip
that or
service.
they're going to go out of business.
Well, there's another election coming up. The
Yeah,
political scheme will change, and
I don't,
all
this
that
hasn't got
hubbub will go
anything
away.
to do with the politics. This is
GM
nothing
has
to-
never made bad decisions in the past,
never,
have they?
ever. Never made bad decisions in the past. But they're not alone. There are other manufacturers that have declared, oh, we're going to be all
Volkswagen,
electric by such and
Volvo,
such a year. Dude, Why would you cut your nose off to spite your face?
Well,
I don't understand that.
Because I don't think they really believe it's going to happen. Because I even remember going to the Detroit Auto Show years ago with Mark Fields was the president of Ford. We went into Ford's big presentation at the largest auto show in the country, international guests and everything. You walk in, you sit down. He walks out with a couple of his engineers and stuff, and they talk about electric cars and public transportation and things. They bring out one vehicle for their whole press conference at the Detroit Auto Show. And they're all sitting there talking about the future of electric cars and how to get people around without using internal combustion engines. And I thought, my God, does Ford still make cars? Or is this what they're saying? They're getting out of the car business? And it's just been this evolution. They keep going down this road, but there's really no place to go.
There's no end of the road. There's no
That's right.
And the cafe
Not
standards
today.
are different.
Well, it's not necessarily cafe. It's electrical production.
Right.
They just can't put enough wattage out there to power all of these vehicles that are going to be on the market, that are supposed to be on the market. You know, look at, what is it, Amazon, and they joined with Rivian.
Yes, Rivian.
Doing 100,000 delivery vehicles that are going to be all electric.
Well,
you can have a brownout in your neighborhood when they all go home at night to plug those things in.
Yeah, because Mr. Jones down the street's got 2 of them.
No. They're going to have power generation stations that'll suck down diesel fuel all night long.
Pollute the air. There you go.
Well, they will. They'll have to.
I told you about that. I was at a Home Depot in Fresno, California.
Yep. You took a
and there's
picture of
like-
it.
Yeah, they took a picture of it. There's like 8 electric parking spaces where you could plug in your electric car, and right off to one side of it is a diesel generator. And when somebody would pull in, the diesel generator would fire up to power the electric cars. Mind-boggling.
In California.
You know, and think about that now, all of these home generators that are out there.
Right.
You know, you're going to have your home generator turn on just to power your electric
Those
car.
only work with a house that has gas. That doesn't work with an electric house. I've looked into it because I'm all electric. That generator is powered by the gas.
Natural gas.
Natural gas,
Right.
exactly. So you're using natural gas to do the electricity.
Or you could have you can bring in the propane tanks.
You could, but that's,
But again, it's defeating the purpose.
Right. I would rather have it direct hook up to the gas.
So I go back to, I think Toyota may have the right plan by having a hybrid vehicle that has a gasoline component to the electric drive. But I can't see long term that full electric vehicles. Buzz, if you're out there, call in and tell me something different.
I've already had enough fights already this morning with myself.
Oh,
and-
we still got time for more. Yeah.
Write that down, Mike.
We got an hour and 15
and the
minutes
other
of
people
no
that
guest.
are on the dais today.
Do we know anybody that can zoom in for us? Or
Well, George doesn't have his equipment with him, so he can't. I already tried.
So that's a loaded statement there that we don't even want to go to. Why don't we do the car clinic? Because I know that you can blabber on for hours on end, and that'll take up a lot of time.
Well, here in Houston, I don't know that the car show season really ever ends because our weather is good enough where you don't necessarily have to put your vehicle away for the winter. But many people do, and we're going to talk about that over the next couple of weeks about preparing your car for winter storage. But I know we have listeners all around the country and around the world that do have to prepare for winter storage. So this week we're going to talk about how to prepare your vehicle for winter storage of the gasoline fuel system in it. And since, again, there's still enough car shows to go out that you can be able to drive your car, now's the time to prepare for winter storage. There'll always be some water in your fuel tank. You can't avoid getting water in the tank. It comes in every time you open the tank. The humidity gets in there. Or if you have a newer car that has all of the evap systems on it and emission systems on it, when the vent valve opens up, it draws ambient air in it, which is drawing humidified air into your gas tank. And inside your gas tank, you get condensation buildup. Just like your windshield has water on it on a cold morning, that water builds up inside your gas tank, and eventually those water droplets will fall into the fuel. So one of the things you need to do in preparation for winter storage is get the water out of your gas tank, and you want to go out and get a high-quality fuel dryer to put in your fuel tank. And a fuel dryer, what it should do is it should entrain the water molecules and suspend them in the fuel, and then it'll extract them as you drive the vehicle over the next tank or two, as you burn the next tank or two of fuel out. And removing the water is critical to minimize the corrosion that's going to happen inside your tank, as well as with ethanol fuel. The water and ethanol join together, settle to the bottom of the tank, and as it settles to the bottom of the tank, you have this unburnable mass in the bottom of the tank, which is the combination of both ethanol and water.
A layer
of it, and then you have gasoline above it. The problem with it is that gasoline is a sub-octane fuel. Ethanol, they use that 10% ethanol. Houston, you have to have 10% ethanol. They use that to boost the octane number about 3 or 4 numbers.
So the gasoline's heavier than water because of the molecules?
No, gasoline's lighter than water. Water's heavier, so water settles to the bottom.
But you said you had water on the top.
No,
there.
yeah, I'm sorry. I meant you have water and ethanol on the bottom.
Okay.
And then the gasoline floats on top.
Okay.
You know, so you want to get the water out so you don't leave the corrosion in there. Everybody's seen that rusted fuel pump as they pull a fuel pump out of the bottom of your car, out of the bottom of your tank, that's been rusted because of the water that's in there. It doesn't take a lot of water. It takes 3 tablespoons of water to phase separate out 1 gallon of gasoline. A cup of water will phase separate 12 gallons of gasoline.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's not that much.
So
Really not.
How do you deter that? I mean, is there an additive you can put in to evaporate
Well,
that water?
yeah. There's some real high quality fuel dryers out there. Again, I work for BG.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there a company that sells these?
Thanks, Jeff. Just throw me that
segue.
softball. Yeah, BG sells a fuel dryer. The
They
part
do.
number is 281.
Don's off camera eating right now, so you don't see him.
But again, you need to use a high quality product that's going to suspend the water in the fuel, and then as you drive it, it extracts it out. And then you also want to put a high quality additive in there for a fuel stabilizer that's in the tank. And again, that would be BG part number 213.
There you go.
We'll wander off on that. And you want to have your final fill of the fuel tank for storage and put the fuel additive in there. You want to drive it for a little while so it mixes in, it gets in the injectors, the carburetor, or wherever, so that the fuel doesn't wax up or gum up over the storage period. And I'm a believer that you want to store a vehicle with a full tank of fuel, not with an empty tank of fuel, because if you go with a full tank of fuel, there's less room in the top of the tank for that condensation to happen, so less condensation happens as well. And then in Houston, it's difficult to find ethanol-free fuel, but I would say if you are going to store your vehicle, try and store it with ethanol-free fuel, and that means you're going to have to drive out to Waller or one of the outside counties at a Buc-ee's, basically, to get ethanol-free fuel. It's a better choice, but it's not always possible.
But all of these processes don't necessarily mean a car. You could have a boat, motorcycle, any winter
lawnmower,
vehicle.
your generator,
Yeah.
all of these things
So this all
require
applies.
some care in storing.
What is stable?
Stable is they sell it as a fuel stabilizer.
Is it stable or
What-
stable?
I know that, but what does it do? What is it? Because that's what they say. If you're going to store your lawnmower, you put stable in it. Well, what does it do?
Well, it's supposed to be an anti-corrosion piece to it, as well as something to keep the fuel from breaking down and gumming up. That's the intent of it. So stable, that's one of the components. That's one of the things that it does. And there's other brands out there that do similar things.
Part number 821.
No, 281 and 280.
Okay, then. So what is Techron? What is that?
Techron is a deposit cleaning agent. Excuse me, I'm popping my peas. It's a deposit cleaning agent that's in fuel. So, or you can buy it in a little bottle on the side. So what that does is that goes in and it cleans the carbon up inside your engine, inside your fuel.
So it doesn't have any.
Doesn't have anything to do with fuel stabilization. So there are products out there that do both, that have deposit cleaning agents.
Okay, so I
and
go
fuel
to my
stabilization.
Advance Auto Parts. What is it that I can buy there?
Well, I would. The stable product is there, and there's different levels of stable that are out there. There's another one out called Heat. I've tested Heat. If you don't buy the right one, it doesn't do anything, especially because Heat talks about getting the water out of your fuel. And I've tested Heat 1,000 times by now, and if you don't get, I think it's the red label one, it doesn't really do what they say it's going to do. So what you're looking for is that water, entraining the water so it takes it out as you're running it. Because getting the water out is just as important as putting a stabilizer in there, because the water is what creates the corrosion.
Yeah.
Ethanol by itself is a little acidic, so when you add the water to it, it grows in its mass and it concentrates itself, because the water and the ethanol, the water will draw the ethanol out of the fuel, and that's what really creates the problem. So you want to make sure whatever product you're putting in your tank has both a fuel stabilizing component as well as an anti-corrosion component, and then if possible a DCA or deposit cleaning agent component of it. Those three components are really important.
I remember when I was back in the day when I was working at the Chevrolet dealership, the main engine guy, the guy that would actually rebuild engines on right there in the shop, the guy was brilliant. He'd have some car come in there that was all clogged up. A granny took it to the grocery store and the church, and that was it. And it wasn't running right, clearly. And he would go in there. And I guess he'd check the oil, and then he'd get out the water.
Oh, I know where this is going.
And he'd run that engine up to about 4,000 RPM, and he'd take that water and just run it down the carburetor. And oh, my God, it'd fill up the entire shop with all of this ugly, nasty soot coming out of the back end of the car.
Yep. And what he's trying to do is clean the carbon out of the inside of the engine.
Right.
So that carbon buildup, and everybody's seen the Shell commercials that talks about the carbon buildup. That carbon buildup, primarily, I'm going to tell you 95% of that carbon buildup is caused by oil, not by fuel. So that oil that's drawn into the engine through basically the PCV system, those droplets, every time you turn the car off, those droplets stick to something and build carbon up. The problem with doing the water bath like they used to in the past is the way the water would work, it would go in and steam and break things off in big pieces. In a car pre-catalytic converter, not that big a deal. And when you were there, that was all long before catalytic converters came out.
Thank you.
But that's true. It was 73 is when cats came out. Well, those chunks of carbon getting stuck in a catalytic converter is going to damage a catalytic converter. Those chunks of carbon getting stuck in a oxygen sensor are going to damage an oxygen sensor. Those chunks of carbon would stick under an intake valve every now and then, depends on how big the chunk was, and hold it open and cause a misfire. Well, back then, at 3,000 RPM, it would just hammer that chunk of carbon out and it really wouldn't make a big deal, which is where that smoke was coming from. That smoke was a combination of steam and all the junk he was cleaning out of the inside of the engine. With us at BG, we actually have a product that will mist down the throttle body, kind of like putting water in it, but our deposit cleaning agents, and they will smoke and they will smell, but it safely removes the carbon buildup from inside the engine.
How often do you have to do something like that?
About every 15,000 miles. And
Really?
today's cars would be the smartest thing, but most people do it about every 30.
Well, it's funny. The only reason I bring it up is because for the first time in quite a long time, there was a car ahead of me getting on the freeway, and clearly they don't drive it that much, especially at a highway speed. And out from the back comes all of this
coughing and spitting and sputtering.
all this stuff. And once they got it on the freeway, then it stopped. But you really don't see that much these days, as much anymore, because I guess of the fuel injection system, the way that everything's so efficient that it doesn't allow for that.
Well, plus the converter acts as a bit of a filter. You got to
Dampers,
think, they are working on a particulate filter for gasoline engines as well, like they do on a diesel engine.
Right.
But what you're talking about is the old European tune-up. I get that car from Grandma, and Dad takes it out and runs the snot out of it.
Yep.
Well, that's exactly what he's trying to do, is trying to get the temperatures up, get everything hot enough, and blow all the carbon out of it, which back in the day was basically what a lot of people would do.
Some stories making automotive news headlines this week. Nissan North America took to the airwaves last month in search of new employees.
Wow.
With ads on radio, TV, and social media to promote career opportunities at its large assembly plant in Smyrna, Tennessee. Nissan, which reduced its manufacturing headcount as the pandemic disrupted the industry, now needs several hundred more plant employees. They tell the local community that employees have access to an on-site gym, a golf range, discounted rates on new vehicle leases, paid college tuition, and raises every 6 months. So if you're looking for a job, let's all move up to Smyrna, Tennessee.
Is that anywhere near Chattanooga?
Probably. Ford Motor Company and GM will attempt to settle a trademark fight over the branding of their hands-free driving technology out of court, they say. The tit-for-tat legal skirmish began in July when GM sued Ford for violating its trademarked driver assist technology. It said it was taking action to protect its Super Cruise brand and Cruise, the name of its self-driving affiliate, Cruise LLC, after Ford in April renamed its Copilot 360 automated driving system as Blue Cruise.
Oh.
Thought that was an interesting story. Semi-autonomous features such as hands-free driving and crash avoidance technology have become hotly contested battlegrounds as automakers seek to boost prices, best rivals with options that command a premium, and give drivers high-tech bragging rights. And wholesale values rose 27% last month.
Wow.
Last month from September 2020, according to the Mannheim Used Vehicle Value Index, which tracks prices of cars and trucks sold at auctions. Values in September were up 5.3% from August. In a conference call Thursday, Cox chief economist Jonathan Smoke said average wholesale prices have increased for 8 straight weeks through last week, and they do not appear to be at a peak for 2021. But when asked about the high wholesale prices hitting dealer margins, Smoke noted that auctions only represent the most expensive method for dealers to get used cars and trucks. A typical franchise dealer only sources about a quarter of their used inventory from auctions.
Wow.
And new car dealers looking for that trade-in to source their used car vehicles, But when you're looking at independent used car operators, they get a lot of their cars from auction.
And when is it going to level out?
Quick break now. Time now for a break, and we'll be back with more of the In Wheel Time Car Show after this. We all know about aftermarket and online parts stores, and each one has something to offer, but they don't offer original factory parts. That's where Bayway comes in. For original factory parts, visit the Bayway stores first. Give them a call or stop by. Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Bayway Chevy, and Bayway Lincoln carry a complete line of parts for the do-it-yourselfer. Keeping your newer classic original means a lot, and you can count on these fully stocked parts departments to help keep it that way. Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Bayway Chevy, and Bayway Lincoln, keeping it original. Tailpipes and Tacos, Houston's premier monthly car cruise-in, returns Saturday morning, October 16th to the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy. Tailpipes and Tacos is free and you're invited. Collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods will all be on display. Lupi founder, car collector, and drag racer Stan Holt brings you the coolest Saturday morning cruise-in, Tailpipes and Tacos. Car show season's just around the corner and time to stretch your car's legs in a fun family event. There'll be plenty of fabulous, fresh, made-to-order Lupi Tortilla Tacos, hot coffee, and adult beverages, too. This is Houston's coolest cruise-in, Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10, and on the Southwest Freeway in Kirby inside the Loop. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise-in, October 16th, 8 to 11 a.m. The In Wheel Time Car Show will be there, too. We'll see you then, weather permitting. Gulf Coast Auto Shield has moved to a more convenient location. Now you can visit John Gray and his staff of dedicated professionals at their new shop on the South Sam Houston Parkway between Belford and Airport in Southwest Houston. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is the best at paint correction and ceramic coatings. Clear bras and custom wraps are specialties that only Gulf Coast Auto Shield installs with award-winning accuracy, and all their services come with a warranty. Lamborghini, Aston Martin, Porsche, and Ferrari owners depend on Gulf Coast Auto Shield for their specialty services, and you should too. The In-Wheel Time Corvette and Cutlass have both been massaged by Gulf Coast Auto Shield, so isn't it time your vehicle visit their new shop in Southwest Houston? Call John Gray today at 832-930-5655 or visit online at gcautoshield.com. That's gcautoshield.com. Paint, coatings, wraps, and more.
at gcautoshield.com.